Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow. Say hi, Terry.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Terry and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics, because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we watched the pilot of a new show to make up for the fact that we didn't watch an episode of The West Wing that we thought we were going to watch. We should have known that there was not going to be a new episode or an accompanying episode of the West Wing Weekly podcast. So we punted to this new show, which we'll talk about in a minute. But first, one day at a time, we are continuing. And this week's episode was called She Drives Me Crazy. Mm-hmm. And it started out, I thought it was going to be like a regular laugh-a-minute sitcom of the teenage girl learning how to drive.
Yeah, and she even had like wacky teenage girl hair going on there. What the heck?
And it really went a different way. Went in a different direction, may I say.
It took a left turn, making sure to put its turn signal on first.
It did. It had a couple of laugh out loud moments that I'm maybe not going to remember right this minute, but involving Dr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Stephen Tobolowsky as Dr. Berkowitz, who volunteers to teach Elena how to drive.
Yeah.
Which was a cute pairing. You know, it's fun on this show when they bring him on, and you know, one week it's him and Schneider having a buddy comedy, and now this week it's him and Elena, and
I
we're
like
gonna have
that.
to have an Alex episode coming up here.
Yeah, I think there might have been one when Alex came and worked at the office.
True.
But yes, that's always a fun thing on sitcoms when they've been around for a little while and they start mixing up their characters in different combinations. So he's just wonderful with anybody. I really enjoy him. And happy that they are using him more and more.
Definitely.
Just a enduringly goofy presence. But, I mean, they've talked before about his children being terrible and mean to him. So that was the turn that storyline took.
Mm-hmm. Although it was pretty, I don't think that most 17-year-old girls would, you know, be so bold as to take an adult in their life and try to patch up the estrangement.
True.
You know, she just decides that he should go see her, and she drives him there.
That's true. But I would say that she's been portrayed as a pretty take charge teenager, and he's been portrayed as, well, I mean, he's an adult chronologically, but you know, he's extremely malleable. He will pretty much go where you point him. So it's not like she had to do much persuading.
Right. This is true.
So I bought it, I guess, that she would want to fix things, even if it wasn't real. My feeling was, oh my gosh, is this a bad idea? Please don't do this. This can't possibly go well. But they never really, I mean, I guess she let him hand her cash or something like that was the resolution of that storyline. Right. So I guess she didn't do anything terrible to him. But, you know, sometimes it's best to just leave things alone.
Exactly.
She is the sort of teenager who would not understand that.
Right. She would always. She's a justice warrior.
Exactly.
But then the left turn it took with Penelope and Lydia was a lot of discussion about their relationship and how Penelope felt criticized, I guess, and there were some good moments there, too, in terms of the way that Lydia responded.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a perennial mother-daughter thing. Yeah. You know, I knew my mother felt that I hung the moon. I never had any doubt of that. But at the same time, you know, if she looks at me funny, then I'm instantly defensive. So I think that's you know, you always want to be told that what you're doing right now is enough and exactly what I want and perfect. And I don't know. That's hard. Now that I'm a mom, I know how hard that is to give that.
Absolutely.
Because you always want something more or something different from your kid. And it doesn't mean you don't love them just exactly the way they are, but at the same time, stand up straight and put on some lipstick and comb your hair.
Right. And you have so much potential.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Oh, gosh. That. So, but I mean, it's hard to turn that off when you're a mom. It's like you want the world to see how wonderful this person that you love is. And you can see it. There's no doubt in your mind. But you want the world to see it too. And for that purpose, you want them to be able to, cook and have a good job and get all A's and, do all these things that the world appreciates. So it's difficult, man. I have been on both sides of that conversation.
Right.
Yeah. And it just tugged at my heart that they had that. I have a thing with food that, like, if there's food involved and then people don't get to enjoy the food, I feel bad. I mourn for the food. They had that wonderful scene in the kitchen where they were cooking together and they were having so much fun and they were dancing and it was just so great. And then they had this big fight afterwards. It's like, but what's happening to that good stuff in the kitchen? Couldn't you just eat that first and then go fight? Can you pass a plate through the screen?
Way to go to make up. Go sit around the table and enjoy it, even though it is cold now.
It looks like it would be good cold also.
That's true.
Have a microwave somewhere there. Put it back in the pan. Do another dance. Heat it back up.
Yes. I did enjoy Lydia's protectiveness of her recipes.
Yes.
Her making sure that her sister Mirta, which I think that might be the Gloria Estefan character.
That's who I imagine it was, whether it was or not.
Right. That she could not steal the recipes. So they're written in code.
Yeah. I enjoyed the laugh out loud parts and I enjoyed the more sentimental way things turned. But again, it was, as we've discussed before, and it's no knock on the show at all. It's just a sitcom thing. It's just that you have 30 minutes to tell your story or less. Right. Everything resolves really quick. The doctor goes, sees his daughter and nothing terrible happens. And mother and daughter are mad at each other for like 5 minutes and then they make up. And it's like, wow.
Right.
If the world were like that, we would not need psychiatrists.
Right. And there's no, Elena hits a mailbox and deploys the airbags. And yet, 30 seconds later, everything's reset.
Right.
And I did enjoy that they had that little crash at the beginning of their lesson so that was over with. And
I guess
you pretty much knew that there wasn't going to be another.
Yeah, I guess I watched too many, NCISs and hour-long crime-related dramas. Anytime anybody is in a car having a conversation for more than a half a scene, something's going to come and hit them. Right. So it's like I was just waiting for a car to come out of nowhere and hit them or for them to hit something. It's like, it's so much stress. Right. But it was fun. Since it was a sitcom, it was fun.
Right.
Calm down. It's okay. And it's our regulars. Usually if it's the regulars in a car, possibly nobody's going to die. If it's people you've never seen before.
Watch out.
Yeah, even just walking to a car, the car's going to blow up. And then if you're in the car, you're going to get, car's going to come out of nowhere and hit you. So, the rules of TV.
Gotta watch out for that. So that was One Day at a Time.
Yeah.
And then, as I mentioned, we decided to pivot to something new. Since we didn't have the West Wing Weekly podcast is doing like a special episode once a month.
Right.
And they did a big block of cheese show where they answered listener questions. And it was fun.
Yes.
It was fine, but it didn't go with an episode, so we're not really going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Instead, we're going to talk about this new NBC sitcom called Abby's, and it stars Natalie Morales, who we have watched on many of our shows.
Right.
We have seen her on Parks and Rec and Trophy Wife,
right,
most notably. And she plays this, I believe, Afghan war vet who lives in this rental house, and she starts a bar in the backyard, as you do.
Yes.
And, the opening sort of drama for the pilot is that the owner of the house passes away and her nephew is now the owner, and he shows up and is like, what is going on? There is an unlicensed, like, underground bar in what is now my backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, one little twist was that they filmed outside with a live audience.
Right.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and we should also mention that it was, I think Mike Shore is one of the producers who also did Parks and Rec and The Good Place, which we've been enjoying very much. So I remember when the show was first announced quite a long time ago, I think. All those elements made me think, yeah, I'm going to check that out. And then I completely forgot about it until it popped up on social media as, finally starting. Speaking of rules of TV, pilots usually stink. First episodes of things are very rocky. And, you just have to get a sense of, do you like the people? Does it have actors and actresses you're familiar with in it? Do you think the premise has some place to go? Because you're not really going to get that much. There's very few sitcoms where you're hooked on the first episode. So I felt that very much with this. It's like, really? She has the Cheers set in her backyard. They just took that stuff out of storage. So it's not like, she's got a couple of TV trays set up with a blender. It's a complete bar and there's machinery and there's, how did this happen? One might think. It's just one of those things that says, you just have to, this is our premise. You just have to buy it. Right. And maybe eventually we'll explain. But I do like her quite a lot. And I think Neil Flynn is the actor who plays one of the barflies who is, he's on the middle and he was in Scrubs. And I've always enjoyed him and I think he's fine here. The lady who's there kind of to hide from her children, she looks familiar to me. I've been trying to figure out where I know her from. She was in Spy.
Oh,
Do you remember who she was in that? Was she maybe her friend at the...
Yeah, I do not remember. I didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
But I also had the sense that I'm sure I've seen her before. But
but she was very good. And
I didn't really love that whole premise. It's been done many times.
I guess. But,
if hiding from her kids.
I know, but if you could, her kids, she could see her kids' window. If you could, go to a bar that was, downstairs from your apartment and kind of keep an eye on things, there could be some appeal of that. I don't know. Yes, it's something that's been done, but I kind of enjoyed it anyway. And, the new owner doesn't seem all that promising to me and seemed to turn around very quickly. See again, sitcom things, disputes have to resolve within 30 minutes. Right. So there's tons about it that I didn't buy that are unbuyable, basically.
Yes.
But I'll watch it again. I'll watch it a few times. I like the people in it and behind it enough that I think it's going to go somewhere. So.
Plus it has that NBC Thursday night lead-in that at least once upon a time was a big deal.
Yeah,
and probably not so much anymore with all the ways people time shift. But
yeah, well, it would make a good companion with One Day at a Time NBC because, two war veterans and, one actual family, one sort of adopted found family. You could sell that.
See it.
Somebody needs to pick up One Day at a Time.
Well, we'll keep watching both of those plot lines to see how they develop.
Next time there's a gap in our West Wing viewing, maybe we'll revisit Abby's and talk about it a little more once we have a few episodes under our belt. Because I think in general famously the first season of Parks and Rec was kind of awful. And yet it turned into this wonderful, beloved show. And you just had to say, gee, I like Amy Poehler. And gee, there's some really good, funny people behind this. And some of those supporting characters are really interesting. I'm gonna give a little time. So I can do that with this too.
So next week, we will watch One Day at a Time's 9th episode of the 3rd season. It's called Anxiety. And we will this time get to West Wing's King Corn.
Yep.
Which is where we were stopped.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it for Round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Bye, Terry.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye, everyone.